What is psychology? After reading this chapter, you would be able to understand the nature and role of psychology in understanding mind and behavior, state the growth of the discipline, know the different fields of psychology, its relationship with other disciplines and professions, and appreciate the value of psychology in daily life to help you understand yourself and others better. Contents Introduction. What is psychology? Psychology is a discipline. Psychology is a discipline. Psychology is a natural science. Psychology is a social science, understanding mind and behavior. Popular notions about the discipline of psychology. Evolution of psychology. Some interesting landmarks in the evolution of modern psychology. Development of psychology in India. Branches of psychology. Themes of research and applications. Psychology and other disciplines. Psychologists at work. Psychology in everyday life. Key term summary review. Questions. Project ideas.
The growth of the human mind is still high adventure, in many ways the highest adventure on earth. Norman Cousins.
Introduction. You were, perhaps, asked by your teacher in the first class why you opted for psychology over other subjects. What do you hope to learn? If you were asked this question, what was your response? Generally, the range of responses which surface in class to this question are truly bewildering. Most students give inane responses, like they want to know what others are thinking. But then one also comes across such responses as knowing oneself, knowing others, or more specific responses like knowing why people dream, why people go out of their way to help others or beat each other up. All ancient traditions have engaged themselves with questions about human nature. The Indian philosophical traditions, in particular, deal with questions relating to why people behave in the manner in which they do. Why are people generally unhappy? What changes should they bring about in themselves if they desire happiness in their lives? Like all knowledge, psychological knowledge too is intended to contribute to human well-being. If the world is full of misery, it is largely due to humans themselves. Perhaps you have asked why a 9/11 war in Iraq happened. Why innocent people in Delhi, Mumbai, Srinagar, or in the Northeast have to face bombs and bullets. Psychologists ask what is in the experiences of young men which turn them into terrorists seeking revenge. But there is another side to human nature. You may have heard the name of Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia, paralyzed waist down because of an injury he suffered in a war with Pakistan, who climbed the Mount Everest. What moved him to climb such heights? These are not only questions about human nature which psychology addresses as a human science. You will be surprised to learn that modern psychology also deals with somewhat nebulous micro-level phenomenon like consciousness, focusing attention in the face of noise, or supporters trying to burn down a shopping complex after their team had scored victory in a football game over its traditional rival. Psychology cannot claim that answers have been found to these complex questions, but it surely has improved upon our understanding and how we make sense of these phenomena. The most striking aspect of the discipline, unlike other sciences, lies in the study of psychological processes, which are largely internal and available to humans for observation within themselves. What is psychology? Any knowledge discipline is hard to define. Firstly, because it evolves continuously. Secondly, because the range of phenomena it studies cannot be captured by any one definition. This is even more true of psychology. Long time back, students like yourself were told that the term psychology is derived from two Greek words, psyche meaning soul and logos meaning science or study of a subject. Thus, psychology was a study of the solar mind. But since then it has moved away considerably from this focus, and established itself as a scientific discipline which deals with processes underlying human experience and behavior. The range of phenomena it studies, some of which we mentioned above, are spread over several levels, viz. Individual, dyadic, two-person, group, and organizational. They also have biological as well as social bases. Naturally, therefore, the methods required to study them also vary greatly depending on the phenomenon one wants to study. A discipline is defined both in terms of what it studies and how it studies. In fact, more in terms of how a method per second it uses. Keeping this in view, psychology is defined formally as a science which studies mental processes, experiences, and behavior in different contexts. In doing so, it uses methods of biological and social sciences to obtain data systematically. It makes sense of these data so that they can be organized as knowledge. Let us try to understand the three terms used in the definition, namely, mental processes, experience, and behavior. When we say experiences are internal to the experiencing person, then we refer to states of consciousness or awareness or mental processes. We use our mental processes when we think or try to solve a problem, to know or remember something. One level at which these Mental processes are reflected as the brain activity. As we think or solve a mathematical problem, our brain activities can be observed using different techniques of brain imaging. However, we cannot say that brain activities and mental processes are the same, although they are interdependent. Mental activities and neural activities are mutually overlapping processes, but they are not identical. Unlike the brain, the mind does not have a physical structure or has a location. Mind emerges and evolves as our interactions and experiences in this world get dynamically organized in the form of a system which is responsible for the occurrence of various mental processes. Brain activities provide important clues as to how our mind functions. But the consciousness of our own experiences and mental processes are much more than the neural or brain activities. Even when we are asleep, some mental activities go on. We dream and receive some information such as a knock on the door while we are asleep. Some psychologists have shown that we also learn and remember in our sleep. Mental processes, such as remembering, learning, knowing, perceiving, feeling are of interest to psychologists. They study these processes to try to understand how the mind works and to help us improve the uses and applications of these mental capacities. Psychologists also study experiences of people. Experiences are subjective in nature.